Good morning. It is the Beading Lady here. I'm going to wait to see if more people will join in. Let me send some requests before we get started. Good morning, everybody that is joining in. I'm just sending out some requests for anyone that actually is live today and that can attend today's Parent-Preneur Talk. Again, good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, everybody that can attend that is coming in. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I just sent out a couple requests for anybody that is on live or on Instagram this morning. Again, my name is the Beading Lady. Most people know me as Sade, but I have my own beading business that creates cultural waist beads as well as bracelets, anklets, and things of such nature from this point. So that's why I'm the Beading Lady, but I do have a couple of different side things that I do as well. And I am starting on my journey of encouraging parents that are going into the entrepreneur world from this point. I've been doing a Parent-Preneur Talk for about 4 weeks from this point, and every week we bring on someone that will be attending my Parent-Preneur conference that's happening on May the 29th, 2022 in Miami, Florida. And today we will be talking with someone from the mental health panel from this point. We do have 2 panels at the Parent-Preneur Conference. One is going to be financial literacy, and then the second one is going to be mental health. And then this young lady is going to be on the mental health panel. And she is a Miami native just as me from this point, and she agreed to come on today to express her knowledge and, of course, her expertise on mental health as well as body health as well, and how we can keep ourselves self-motivated from this point. Again, the Parent-Preneur Conference, it is going to be on May the 29th, 2022. For anyone that is interested, you can go to info.parentpreneurconference.com. I will attach it to the link of this video once I'm finished recording, so you know how to go directly there. I do have a mission available as well as vending options for anyone that wants to try showcase their information and their different products from that point. That is a part of the conference. You can kind of showcase your talents. But anyone that's interested, you'll go to info@parentpreneurconference.com. But let's go ahead and get the Parent-Preneur Conference talk session started. Again, I'm going to introduce Dr. Dashia Andrews. She's the founder of She's on Purpose from this point. And she's the author of Please Do Not Say It, The Truth About Affirmations, 8 Easy Steps to Make Them Work for You. And it's a a boost of your self-motivation. And we have also another book that she wrote. It is going to be called Everything Starts With Your Beliefs, 90-Day Success Planner from this point. So you actually can plan your days out with her planner. She is a beautiful heart from this point. I met her with Miss Taria Avant, with me actually writing my book, and we have a separate book camp from this point that we actually are a part of together. And from that point, we are got in touch that way, and she is such a beautiful soul from this point. I'm going to go ahead and get her added here to the talk session for today. With all further ado, we're going to go ahead and add Miss Dashia Andrews here. So bear with me 1 second so I can get her added. One moment. Dr. Dashia, let me try it one more time.
Hi, great morning.
Great morning, great morning. Can you hear me? Can you see me good?
Yes,
You
I
know,
can
you're
hear
with
you.
technology, honey.
Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, I can, baby. I can hear you and see you. Thank you
Perfect.
again. I do appreciate you coming in on the Parent-Preneur talk session for today. Just, expressing gratitude for you because you are such a blessing to me from this point and being a part of the panelists and you expressing, mental health because that's so important for us to kind of understand from this point. So I thank you so very much for being a part of today's talk session, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, man. This is such an honor, first of all, and congratulations on everything. Like
Same to you.
it's such an amazing platform, and then what you're doing out here to kind of really help parents understand, what this entrepreneur life really looks like.
Yes.
That's a big deal because managing entrepreneurship and children, that's a whole other thing.
That is a whole job in itself right now. So
Yes.
I thank you for being a part and, sharing your experience. So I just want to get started real quick and just
Okay.
introducing yourself, your business from this point, and just letting everybody know who you are from this point. So go ahead, it's on you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I was gonna adjust this camera, child, so I put on my little logo shirt so y'all can
I
see.
see you, child. We got
But
ourselves.
so my name is Dr. Dashia Andrews, and I am the CEO and founder of She's on Purpose, which is a really a business that's dedicated and focused on helping women discover their purpose, their passion, and teaching them how to turn it into profits, and whatever that may look like for them, right? And so it's focused on women because I'm a woman and
Of course.
I know what that experience is. I can help men. I do have men coaching clients, but it's usually in business, right? Not so much life because I don't know that life experience. And so I like to tell people, like, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a medical doctor. I have 2 PhDs in education, educational leadership, and then leadership in nonprofit organization. And so I spent 10 years as a teacher and about 7 or 8 years as a 7.5 years as a principal, right, in Miami-Dade County. And in that experience, I learned that so many of us just really don't know what our purpose is.
Right.
I found myself making money in a career that I love, don't get me wrong, but I still felt this thing like something was missing. Like I
Right.
didn't, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And so the whole point of She's on Purpose is really to help women discover what their purpose is and really live that out. And many times that's building businesses, right?
Yes.
That's building businesses. And so I am, yeah, that's She's on Purpose, and I'm honored because I know that that is my purpose, right? That
Right.
is my purpose. And to be able to go into entrepreneurship knowing that what you're doing every day really is what you were created to do, it's a different feeling.
It's a beautiful feeling, you get what I'm saying? When you can create your own destiny and your own future and you're not kind of tacked to someone else's images of what you feel, what they feel that you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be doing from this point. Entrepreneurship is amazing from
Yes.
this point. So I'm going to get started with some questions from this
Okay.
point. So we did go over what your business purpose is, but I did want to know, why did you decide to be a parentpreneur from this point? What influenced you? What encouraged you to actually make that shift from that point?
Well, for me, it was, I think I always had this entrepreneur spirit. I just didn't know how to channel it. And I would tell myself things that would talk me out of it at first, right?
Right.
Um, like I tried to sell Mary Kay. That really didn't work out. I used all the products on me. I never sold a thing. Didn't even wear makeup. Didn't know how to wear makeup. Like I put on a little foundation for y'all today, but it's not my thing, right? And
Right.
so that didn't work out. So I tried to do lingerie. Ended up with a closet full of lingerie. Never sold anything. And
Right.
then I found myself. I said, well, you know what? I have this spirit, but I need to stick to what I love. And so I started a nonprofit. And really, my goal of going into entrepreneurship was because I just wanted to leave a legacy for my kids.
That's it.
I love teaching. I loved being a principal, but I understood that, for one, I didn't have the flexibility to do what I knew my kids really needed, my students really needed. I was
Right.
bound to the rules and regulations of the school board, of the district, of the government. I was bound to that. If my kids needed something else and we had to be on page 40 doing this thing, this is what we had to do.
Right.
And so because I felt like my hands were so tied, and then I also began to realize, man, I'm gonna be here 30 years and I'm barely be able to really survive when it's all over, because
Right.
this is my passion, but I still do need to make a living.
A living, yeah.
And I still do want to leave a legacy for my children. And so that's really what pushed me into entrepreneurship, really just thinking about, like, when it's all said and done and I'm gone, what are my kids gonna have?
That's it. That step, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are they gonna say about my mommy? Yeah, she was a teacher. Yes, she was a principal. I feel you, because I like that too. Like, I've been doing different things from that point. But
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you think about, wow, is this gonna be my only legacy that I leave
Yep.
behind? That kind of stops you in your tracks. Like, wait, we got to switch something up.
Yep. Absolutely. Because you can't leave no job in no will.
Right? Say that.
After
Say
that,
that.
when you gone, baby, your job is gonna be on all the hiring sites, because you
That's true.
gone. They're not
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh, we're gonna give this job to Dashia's daughter, or we're gonna give this job to Dashia's son. We're gonna pass this position down in her bloodline. That's not how that works.
That's
And
so
I
true.
just knew that I wanted to leave my kids more than what I had. I wanted them to be able to make a decision to really live their life and operate out of their purpose, not just because they needed to pay bills, so they had to take a job.
Right. I understand that. I really do feel that. Thank you again for answering that question. My second one would be, how do you recognize mental health from this point? And when you're not, like, okay from that point, how do you kind of recognize what is happening and what kind of stopping you from doing what you really want to do from that point?
I think for me, so I went through a really long, and this was a long time, and discovering what my purpose was, right, and how to walk that out. And during that time, I realized that the things that were holding me back were not things that I necessarily started to believe on my own. It was the beliefs of other people that had been given to me from the time I was a little girl, and those things grow with you, like, and you start believing, well, you can't do that because you need to get a job and pay bills, or you got to go to school and get an education to get a good job, and you got to do X, Y, and Z to live a certain life. And so I realized that a lot of the things that I'm feeling, it's not because I truly, truly, truly believe this. It's because this is a story that's been told to me. And I realized those things would have me depressed, and it would
Yeah.
have me doubting myself and doubting my abilities. And when I would see other people like succeeding and they seemed happier than me, that would even make me depressed, because then I start comparing, right?
All
And
right.
so
No, that's true.
I just noticed, when I started noticing that, I started moving back more and more from what I really wanted to do and moving more into what the world felt like I should do.
Right.
That's when I realized, like, oh my God, like, you're not okay. Like, you're not okay. And when I feel like I don't want to get up and go do this, I started, like, you could feel depression in your body.
Yeah, you can.
You could feel
Personally.
anxiety, you could feel that stuff in your body. And when I started shrinking, when I got in certain rooms, and I realized, oh my God, you probably smarter than half of the people in here. And not to say anything about those
No,
people,
I get you though.
but
I
it's
get what
like,
you're saying.
you're hearing some of the stuff they're saying, and it's like, nope, that's not gonna work. But if they do it this way, this could work. Not that your idea is perfect, but you've had some experience in that, and still not open your mouth and say anything. That's when I realized, like, this is not good for me mentally, because now I'm just falling into this. I was in this trap where I got up, I got dressed, I went to work, I had a smile, I was happy. At least I portrayed that I was happy. You
Right.
know what I mean? But I still was not being who I knew I was authentically. Like, I wasn't I was being authentic, but I wasn't being authentic to myself.
Right.
And so that will mess with you mentally, man. And I would notice, like, I would go through bouts of depression, and I would go through bouts of self-doubt and not feeling like I'm good enough, you know, and because I shrink in other rooms, and then when I get in certain rooms where I'm really qualified to be in, I would shrink.
Right.
And so mentally that can destroy you.
It can. It can. I feel like that happens a lot with us and our people from this point, that we have, like you said before in the previous question, that we've been taught that we have to kind of maintain a certain lifestyle from this
Mm-hmm.
point, that we forget that we have our own purposes from that point. And we can't add value to certain situations from this point. But
Mm-hmm.
I understand that with a lot of us. That's why I feel like this Parent-Preneur conference is a big theme from this point. Because I just want to
Mm-hmm.
shake some parents, like, yes, it's our responsibility to take care of our kids, but let's do it in a different way to where we can leave a legacy, a different way where we're comfortable, a different way where we're happy from this point to do it, you know? That's a
Absolutely.
big thing. That's a big thing. My
Absolutely.
second question is basically off of health, because I know you're in the healthcare industry from this point.
Okay.
So how does healthcare and mental health actually go hand in hand in your opinion from this point?
Wow. Well, here's the thing. If you don't take care of yourself, hold up, I'm trying to share this thing. If you don't take care of yourself physically and mentally, you're not gonna be any good for anything and anybody. Like, what you put in your body is just as important as what you put in your mind.
Right.
Because a lot of times the things that we're ingesting, the things that we're eating can cause depression.
Negative vibration is in food too. Look, I
Yep.
understand.
Yep. And so I'm really big on, making sure that we are, first of all, that we are in a healthy place where we can carry out our purpose. Because if you're not healthy, what you about to go accomplish?
Yeah.
You sick, you feeling sluggish, you overweight, you not feeling great. Like, you're not about to go, I'm about to tackle the day and really go live my. You're not.
That's true.
It's just not gonna happen. Let's say you in a career where you on your feet all the time and you really overweight. You don't feel like being on your feet, and that makes you like, I don't even want to go do this anymore.
Right.
And then you don't give
But
it your
after,
all.
yeah, that's true.
So it goes hand in hand. Like, if your physical health is not right, you can't fully walk in your purpose. One thing I always tell my clients is you gotta protect what you're putting in your body and what you're putting in your mind at all times.
That's true.
At all times. Now, I love me some Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I'm not gonna lie.
Look, the green tea one is so good. I understand.
Yes. And so I'm not the perfect eater, but I do make sure that I stay on my supplements. You know what I mean? That I cleanse, that I detox my body, that I keep a good vitamin in my body. I keep my energy right. Because I understand that when I have energy and mental clarity and focus, and I'm not feeling sluggish, then I'm gonna be my best.
Right.
I'm gonna be my best, and it take you being your best all the time to really develop a legacy to leave.
That's totally true. That is totally true. My next question would be, how can we encourage ourselves when we feel like we're losing that motivation from that point, when we're feeling like, like you said, like, you know, I know I got to be at this job. I know I have to go do this from this point because I have bills to pay, but I want to switch. I don't want to feel like this for instance, from this point. How do we switch our thought process from this point to be like, you know what, let's change it up a bit, and let's, self-talk ourselves into something more positive. What do you recommend our audience to do from that point?
Affirmations are a really big thing.
Yeah. You're big on that too. I've been on your live, girl, and look, her lives are amazing. If you have not checked them out, it's 7 a.m., right?
Mm-hmm.
7 a.m. every day from this point. Her lives are amazing. And those
Thank you.
affirmations are very, very good things to actually follow. But go ahead, Queen. I didn't mean to
Thank
cut you
you.
off.
No, but I'm big on affirmations. I'm big on speaking things over your life. I'm big on, you gotta have a morning routine that is like solid, that puts you in the right frame of mind. But you got to also have a nighttime routine. that's the same way.
Right.
Because the more you can guard your mind, the better for you. Because a lot of times we have thoughts that come up that are not our own. They just, thoughts come. You can't stop your brain from thinking thoughts. And you're
Right.
always in this eternal battle, right? I was reading this morning the 4 agreements, and he talked about being in this eternal, like your different thoughts and beliefs in your mind are constantly in battle. You're
Right.
trying to get over the beliefs that someone else gave you that are not serving you with new beliefs, but they're at battle trying to take up space.
Yeah.
And so when you can set your environment up to be, you know, conducive for what you want. So for
Right.
me, it is affirmations, right? It is using the electronic devices that I have to automatically say things at certain times to remind me. Because what if I'm sitting here and I'm in one of my moments and I'm
Right.
not feeling my best, right?
Right.
I'm not at that time. Sometimes you're not thinking, oh, speaking positive to yourself. We don't always have the willpower to do that. But if you have your environment set up in a way
Right.
where you might look over here and you see an affirmation, you ain't gonna
It
have
helps you.
time to read it. Or
Yeah.
your device just automatically pops up a reminder for you that you are the head and not the tail. You are, but like you don't have no choice but to listen to it.
Mhm.
You know, and so I'm big on setting my environment up for my success. Like I'll show y'all. I have an affirmation wall right here. All
Look
of
at
those
that.
stars, those are affirmations, right? And I do the bulk of my work sitting right here at my desk. So
Right.
whenever I might be frustrated with something I'm doing, like if I look over, I want to see that wall. I see my meditation area. I see my vision board right in front of me. And so that's me putting my environment. I have sticky notes on my mirrors in the bathroom. And then also I have a folder in my phone that's called Love on Dashia. That's what I
Right.
name the folder in my photos. And it is things that other people have said about me, right? It could be like you gave me a compliment. I could put that in there because in the moments when I'm not feeling 100% me, sometimes you need to hear it from somebody else's voice. Right? You
Yes.
need to remind yourself who
Mhm.
you are and what you've done, where you've come from. Because a lot of times the road looks like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to do this? But if you look back at what you've been through, you've been in a situation where you felt like, how am I going to do this? And you did it. You've been in a situation where you felt like, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to be able to get over this. But you got over it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when you get to that space again, because it's going to happen again, because as you grow, you get to new places that you've never experienced before.
Right.
And it feel like you're never going to be able to get over it. But you can
Right.
take a look back and say, remember that time you felt like this? Remember that time you felt like that? So that's why I journal. I love journaling. That's really important for me because journaling, it allows me to go back and see how I've grown. And it gives me
Right.
hope that I can keep growing. It gives me motivation that I can keep growing. But in doing that, you got to be honest with yourself. You
Yeah.
can't journal just the good stuff. You
Right.
can't just, like I know some people who just journal when they happy, who just journal, or who just journal when they sad. And you can't do that. You can't just write about the bad stuff. You can't just write about the good stuff. You got to write about it all.
Yeah, for sure. It's always problems, but you got to make sure you display the solutions to the problems from that point.
Exactly.
That way, when you're actually going through it from this point, you can actually go back to, how did I figure this out back then? You know what I'm saying? How did I actually self-talk myself when I was going through this situation? And people don't realize that we're stronger than we are. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been through a lot from childhood. We got to go back to childhood and
Yep.
removing certain traumas from childhood and, you know, changing those aspects. Those are big things because as us, as, you know, African Americans, brown people, we've been through a lot from this point. And we've actually overcome a lot of different things that we don't give ourselves credit for.
Absolutely.
I'm noticing about ourselves, you know? So that's a really good way. I like how you got affirmations everywhere. I got to get me some sticky notes, you know, put them everywhere from this point. I have my vision board right next to my bed, but going the extra mile to just say like, hey, you did this and you accomplished it. I like that. You
And
taught
the
me
thing
something.
is, I do my vision board a little bit different probably than other people. And it's a way that I teach my clients to do it. On my vision board, I have little pockets, like little folders, right, with pockets.
Right.
And based on what my visions are, so I have pictures on my vision board, but I also have my goals written out in sentences, like what I will do with dates, right? But I also have little pockets, one for each one of the goals that I'm working on for that year. And I have little strips of paper. So every time I accomplish something that gets me closer to that goal, I write it on the paper and I put it in that folder.
That's
And
awesome.
on the days when I feel like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming, or I can go back there and I can
And pick
take
that
them
up.
out and I can
Yes.
read my wins. Sometimes you just need to give yourself a win so
Right.
that you can keep going. And so I go back and I read my wins. You know, I read them like, girl, look what you did. Like you accomplished this, you did that, you did this, and you haven't met the whole goal yet, but you 10 steps closer than you were 2 months ago.
I like that.
Celebrate that. You know, we have to learn to celebrate ourselves. And I think that we haven't been, traditionally, we're not celebrated a lot, right?
Right.
I saw a video last night where the mother, she brought her son some flowers. And she said, I'm bringing you flowers because I read something on TikTok that said Black men don't get flowers until their funeral. That's the only time Black men get flowers, is at their funeral. So I wanted to make sure, as your mother, I give you flowers before your funeral, that I show you your value and your worth. You know, women always get flowers, but men don't.
Right.
And I thought that that was so powerful, because we got to know to celebrate. We have to celebrate ourselves, because sometimes that celebration won't come from other people.
Right.
And so just writing those wins down, that's another thing that can get you back in the right headspace. Like, nah, this is tough, but look what you've done. So you can do this. So I'm a really big believer on environment, celebrating the small wins, and journaling about it, because how else you gonna help somebody else? You know, if you don't even know how you got here.
Right. That's right. And you have your little personal tip. That's how I'm thinking about it. Your little personal affirmation tip jar of things that you've been through. You know what I'm saying? You're rewarding yourself. You're celebrating yourself from your tip jar from this point. So every time you look at it, you know, it's like, hey, look what I did. My tip for the day, that I am encouraging myself and I can encourage other people. So I like that. Great idea.
Oh, let me write this down. Get your affirmation tip jar.
I like that. Look. Okay, so as you writing, I'm gonna go on with the well, this is like our fourth question from this point. It's, what are some signs of depression that you've noticed in certain clients? And I think we kind of answered it, but I want to know, like, what are the signs that you've seen actually going through their process from this point, and you reminded them, you know, when those things happen, how you kind of can maneuver through those things from this point. Like any triggers that you've noticed, like any people that you've noticed that people have been around that kind of can trigger them, stuff like that, that you have noticed that kind of can, you know, push you back or either put a client's back from this point from what they've actually been in. Mm-hmm. And how can you kind of tell them to look? But I know the affirmations is perfect from this point, but anything else that, you know, when that does happen from this point, how do we recognize that in that space?
One of the things that I always talk to my clients about is, you know, for them to assess whose story they're telling themselves, right? And so when I hear clients saying certain things, like, say for instance, I have a client who has some very successful friends, right? She's in a very successful circle, and then she's successful in her own right, but she does not feel very successful. So somebody can feel a certain way about you, but it ain't gonna matter if you don't feel that way.
If you don't feel it, yeah.
You know, and so she doesn't feel very successful. So when she's around this certain circle, it makes her feel inadequate, right? And it makes her feel less than. Even though they don't purposely try to make her feel that way, they're celebrating. You know, they're being themselves. They're, you know, and but because she doesn't feel as successful as them, it makes her feel away in that circle. And that's really the only circle she's in. Right. And so one of the things I try to help her with is, you got to be in multiple circles. We are told so much. you know, if you're the smartest person in the circle or in the room, find another room. That's true. But make sure you are in a room where you are the smartest person too.
Right.
It's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You should be in a room where you're the smartest person so that you can teach other people.
Yeah.
And we don't like to admit it, but we all like that feeling of accolades and that feeling of it. We all like that. That makes us feel good. It makes us feel, and it's not that people fawning over us or that we get big headed, but it's like, oh God, okay, I feel this makes me feel good with what I'm doing and secure in what I'm doing, and it makes me feel like I'm contributing. You know, and so you should be in a room where you are the smartest person, but that shouldn't be the only room you're in.
Right.
Because you can get that feeling that you need to feel good about yourself sometimes from that room. And when you go in that other room where you're not the smartest person, it makes it easier for you to receive. It makes it easier for you to learn, you know, from that room. And so that's one of the things. The other thing is I have people recognize, like, I have some clients who I can tell when they're going into this spiral of depression, right? Because it starts out with, I didn't follow my routine today. I overslept today, or I overslept last week, or the homework you gave me, I didn't get it done. And I don't really have a reason why I didn't get it done. Because I always, like, my life coaching, business coaching clients, I always get them homework. It could be something minute, but it's something. And when they come back and it's this consistent thing that they're late for their session, right? Their things do come up, but when they've canceled 2 or 3 sessions, I'm like, I could tell something's happening. And so my thing for them is always to remind them of the story. Are you telling yourself someone else's story for your life? Or are you telling yourself your story? The story you've created? Because when we tell ourselves the story that someone else created for our life, it will put us in this, like, spiral, especially if you've been told you're not good enough, you ain't never gonna be X, Y, and Z, or what would make you think you can do that, or everybody's doing that, why would you do it? You know, if you never told somebody a business idea and they're like, oh, everybody do that, it's like, well, it's 35,000 types of bread on the aisle. That don't stop the people from making bread.
Look, let me tell you something.
So
people, I feel like that's a big thing. Go ahead, Queen. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I feel like that's a big thing, and I like that you brought that up, about, like, being in different circles. I feel like a lot of people just stay in one circle from that point, thinking that that's who they have to be loyal to. But no, you can grow from other people from this point and still be okay with being with the people that you are normally around from this point. It's okay to break free. And I feel like a lot of people feel like they can't, or if it's like a family thing, like, oh, I have to be, like, loyal. Sometimes you don't have to be loyal in a circle that doesn't make you feel appreciated from this point. Because, again, it's very sensitive with family members from this point, because, you know, that whole blood thing, and we got to ride or die and things like that. But sometimes those are the circles that kind of push you away. And sometimes those are the circles that kind of make you feel like you're inadequate from this point. So it doesn't mean that you don't love them. It doesn't mean that you don't care about them when you go to other circles. And I feel like a lot of us feel that way when we decide to, you know, part and kind of find something else that kind of makes us happy and fulfilled. So that's another key fact that you said. So I really appreciate that comment from this point, because I've been through it. I've been through it, feeling guilty about certain things, and that's my family though. I gotta ride for them, and I'm feeling like crap at the end of the day from this point, and I'm feeling drained and stuff like that. And then in the moment when I've met Miss Taria Vaughn, you know Miss Vaughn, she changed your whole aspect of how to look at certain things and how to, you know, take yourself and be appreciative of yourself from this point. And it's just like, ever since I met her, I've been like, let me follow these people. Because, you know, your mind goes to people that think like you, people that kind of keep you motivated from this point. So
that's true. One thing I heard this and it resonated with me so much, and I don't remember where I heard this from or who I heard this from, but it resonated with me. That for one, this is my belief. Your first form of loyalty should be to yourself.
True.
It needs to be to yourself, your desires, your purpose, what it needs to be to you, right? Because how you loyal to somebody else when you're not loyal to you first?
That's
family, husband, kids, anybody. It's God, and then it's you. That's
Yep.
my opinion. That's the order of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then it's the husband and the kids and all of that other stuff.
Of course.
But if you're not right, how you loyal to somebody else? That's the first thing. And then I heard this, and I feel bad because I don't remember who I heard it from, and I want to give them credit. I just don't remember who, but it resonated with me. Loyalty has an expiration date.
It does.
Just because I'm loyal to you now, don't mean I'm gonna be loyal to you forever, because that means you can do whatever you want to do to me.
Mm-hmm.
And because I have this sense of loyalty, I'm gonna just be here and let you know if it doesn't feel good for me, if it's not like, and it's not that, and not if it's not benefiting me, but if it's like financially in that way, but if it makes me doubt myself, if it makes me question myself, if it makes
Dacia,
me,
you are the head and not the
oh
tail.
shoot, sorry.
You are the leader and not the
Congratulations.
follower. You are happy, healthy, humble, and
Sorry,
wealthy.
y'all.
Stop
I
feeling
gotta
small
let her
and big with your
finish.
goals. She's on purpose is successful. Everything I need is in me now.
Okay. See how she just pops up and says,
No, but you need it.
need that.
That's perfect self-talk. Setting timers and things like that to remind you, because look, you could be in a moment where you like,
Yep.
and then that pops up and you like, you know what, I'm better. I'm good.
And that's exactly why I did it. Exactly. Because I'm like, you're not gonna always have the strength to go get what you need. So sometimes you gotta make it easily accessible for you.
Right.
But I don't, like I said, I don't know who said that, but it resonated with me because I realized that there were situations where I was in that I was loyal to people and they were no longer loyal to me. But because I felt this sense of loyalty, I allowed myself to deal with things and be treated in ways that wasn't good for me, because my loyalty to me didn't come first.
Right.
And so loyalty has an expiration date. I'm sorry. And just because we share blood does not mean I'm indefinitely loyal to you. Because if you're doing things that damage me and that hurt me and that make me doubt myself or question myself, then I'm so sorry, blood or no blood. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want that to be a part of my life, because I wouldn't allow somebody else that's not blood to do that.
Right. That's
so
true.
Your blood doesn't make you, and that goes for my listen, that goes for my husband, my kids. You are not exempt.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, God has his plan and his path for each and every one of us. And just because I'm your mother, or just because I'm your wife, in my mind, at least this is how I feel, don't mean that our paths are going to be like this the whole way forever.
Yeah.
There might come a time where it's separated.
Yeah.
And I got to be okay with that. Because sometimes we're holding stuff together that are not supposed to be together. And it's not that it's not supposed to be together ever. It's not. For this season, sometimes God needs you by yourself. And I need you to do this by yourself. Or I need your child to go this path without you rescuing them all the time. Or without you all. Go build the legacy. Build the foundation. The Bible says build the foundation. And that even though they may stray, they will come back.
Yeah.
And so I had to realize that, like, this thing has an expiration date. And if it happens to be renewed at a later time, then that's fine. But when it expires, it expires. And I'm okay with that.
That's true. I think that's a lot of it, like us living for our purpose from this point, and having other people kind of self-talk us into certain things that we don't need to kind of hear from this point, because it stunts our growth. People hear about stunt and growth a lot, but talk can stunt your growth a lot from this point, and being around certain people can stunt your growth. So I totally feel that. So thank you so much for that response. My last question for you is, did you have anyone to talk to back then when you were actually going through certain things, or was it always just, self-talk that you kind of had to do from this point?
So I've had people in different stages of my life, right? And it was it's interesting when I look back, because when relationships go their separate ways, because sometimes relationships you think like it's the most horrible thing in the world sometimes. But I realized later on that, oh my God, I needed that in that relationship and that person for that season. But who that person is wouldn't have been able to be with me in this season. So there were seasons of my life, like I had a spiritual mother. I had, you know, a spiritual person that was in my life. Well, we worked together too. And she was like my spiritual mother. I was her armor bearer. And I learned so much from this person, right? I learned so much, and I was able to, I felt like, grow at a much rapid rate, you know, because I would seek her for guidance, and she gave me great guidance. But there came a time when I guess I was, and I didn't understand it at the time. I understand it now, years later. But there came a time where I was kind of told, like, God was just very clear with me, like, for this season, I don't need you asking her and anybody else for advice. I need you to wait on me.
Right.
But the thing is when you're in this relationship and people are used to this, how the relationship operates, and then you stop operating like that, sometimes it can break the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I stopped asking this person for advice, when I stopped asking this person, help me what does this mean? And help me, that person became, they didn't like that, right? For whatever that gave them, I don't know, but they didn't like that. And it really broke our relationship, right? And now we're good years later when we can go back and say, hey, this is what was really went down. This is how this, and we now both have a better understanding. Because I'm talking about the relationship wasn't broke like in like a cursing you out and I'm mad at you. It was like tears, like, oh my God, we really gotta we gotta separate this. And it wasn't a romantic relationship, it was spiritual, but it still was like, we gotta separate. And we both were hurt by it. We both cried. But we both knew, you know what I mean, that it was different now. Didn't understand why. But I had people like, so I had her, and I've had some people throughout my life that I've been able to not really necessarily get advice from, but be able to just express myself to and get reassurance, you know. And so that did help me. And then I went through a season of my life where I had nobody, and I felt like, Lord, like, why am I alone? And after coming out of it, I realized it was like, I needed you to be alone, because I didn't need anybody else to take the credit. I needed you to be able to see that you can do this with just me. You know what I mean? And so I've had it both ways. But I can tell you, when you have a mentor, when you have a coach, when you have somebody that's really in your corner, it can really help you grow more rapidly. It can help you, you know, develop personally and professionally more rapidly, you know, in your life. Like, I had somebody in my Total Life Changes business that really helped me take my Total Life Changes business to a whole nother level in a more rapid pace. But it was a combination of what she taught me and what I implemented. It wasn't just what she taught me, because she could have taught me everything she knew, but if I did nothing with it, it wouldn't have made a difference. You know what I mean? And so it was a give and take. She taught me something which helped her see that, no, I do know I can duplicate myself. And so I believe it was a reciprocal. It is very reciprocal, because when you see that what you're doing not just works for you, but can work for somebody else, it gives you a different sense of confidence. It gives you a different sense of you know, and you really want to go teach other people. But for me, if I didn't implement it, if I did nothing with it, you know, it's almost like, well, I'm pouring and pouring and pouring and nobody's doing anything with it. So it kind of can make you feel like you're doing stuff in vain. You know what I mean? And I believe that the biggest compliment to your teacher is to go do what they taught you. Go do what they taught you. You know, and let people say what they may about you, but it's the greatest form of flattery. As a teacher, I want my students to go do it. I want you to go. If I'm your third grade teacher, when you get to fourth grade, you better get in there and act like you know how to do this.
Like I taught you something.
You better act like I taught you something. You better not go in the room and be still like acting like you just left second. Like, no, that's not what we do.
No, I totally get you.
People don't see it that way. You know, when we become adults, people don't always, we forget about that's how a teaching relationship is supposed to look. That's how it's supposed
Everybody's a lesson. That's what we don't we don't take into heed. We're so emotionally attached to what is happening from this point. If we need to kind of depart those things that we don't understand in that moment, that everybody is a lesson
Yes.
for us to learn from. You know what I'm saying? And it's not meant for us to actually be sitting in and soaking in that moment of how we feel. It's meant for us to grow from it. Like you were saying with the affirmations, you know, you've been through certain things, and those lessons kind of make you a better person throughout your life from this point. So yes, I like how you kind of talked on that, because I've had certain people that I still go back to be like, well, this person taught me this way to do it, instead of going on my own mental and doing things on my own from this point, actually going back to that teacher or that lesson that I had, or whatever emotion I was feeling and how I actually felt during that time frame and how I learned from it. It's something to build you up throughout in the future, so you know how to kind of handle certain situations when you are in a alone state from this point. Because like you said, when you're alone, it's just like, oh my God, I'm here I'm here doing this on my own, like what's going on? But we have to start remembering certain things that we've been through from this point, and certain people that have been in our life that actually have taught and, you know, displayed motivation and positive things in our day-to-day things when we actually spoke to them from this point, to kind of keep us moving. Because that's very important when we actually are growing and being, you know, entrepreneurs, and also taking ourselves back and being in control of our emotions. I just feel like sometimes our emotions kind of take over a lot of things, you get what I'm saying? And it kind of, it creates a lot of self-doubt and depression, because of us not being able to kind of understand the emotion and why we're going through it, instead of just soaking in it. This is, you know, a lesson that I need to kind of be in right now for me to kind of push through. So again, that is very positive. Today has been very awesome from this point. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Dashia, I keep saying your name wrong. Can you say it?
It's Dashia. So like Day and
Dashia. Miss Dashia.
All virgins. People say Dashia. At least you didn't put an N in it, because some people say Denisha. I'm like, there is no N though.
No, I'm gonna say it right. I gotta say it right, because you have blessed me so much with being on this talk session from this point, and of course our audience with all the gems that you've actually put down from this point. You guys make sure you follow her. Tell us how we can follow you, how we can get in touch with you, your courses, everything you have going on, just in case we kind of want to kind of stay connected with you from this point.
Yeah, definitely, guys. You can follow me at dr.dashiaandrews.com, and if you click on our names to the top, drop it down, you'll be able to follow me from right there. It's the same name on all platforms. Dashia Andrews. You can find me anywhere. My website, DashiaAndrews.com. And if you're looking to kind of just see what I have going on, I got a couple things going on that I'm super, super proud of. I have my new The Truth About Affirmations book that's out. Let me show y'all. I'm super
promote that, because people need that.
About this, like, please don't say it. The truth about affirmations. 8 easy steps to make them work for you and boost your self-esteem. And people are like always shocked by this picture, but it's like we got to learn what we say out of our mouth is important. And if you don't know yet, just don't say it. Don't say it. But this affirmation book really is more so about teaching people a little bit of, research behind affirmations, what they've done for me. I'm giving you some of my favorite affirmations, and then I'm teaching you how to write your own personal affirmations and giving you space to do that. So many times we hear affirmations and we just start repeating it, and it's like, do you even need that for your life right now?
That's your affirmation though, sis. No, I get you. You just can't be speaking everybody affirmation. What is your specific affirmation for your life?
You gotta speak what you want. And so that's out on all platforms, Amazon, Lulu, but you can get it from the link in my bio. And then I'm super proud about this. So we have my 90-day life balance planner just dropped, and it comes with a 90-day success planner training, where I'm really just helping people do, like you're with Terrea, you're with Terrea Vision Avant. And so one thing that our book coach taught us was really how to make sure that you plan out for success, right? And it's something that I've always done, but I never thought about, like, let me teach this, let me help other people get this together, because people would say, how are you so organized? How are you like? I'm like, I'm a teacher. I've always used planners. Like, that's a part of my life. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot teach and not have your lesson plans, not have your day mapped out, not have your week, your year. You
would be so confused.
How are you about to teach you got to know on day one, you got to know what you're teaching for the whole year. You got to know the objectives and what you're going to accomplish the whole year. And then you got to know how you're going to break that down 9 weeks at a time, what they're going to learn in this quarter. Like, people think this, I think a lot of people, because people know me from Total Life Changes, a lot of people don't know me from teaching. Like, a lot of people that follow me now.
Yeah.
So this seems new to them. But to me, I'm like, I can show you my planners from 1999. Like, I've been doing this. Because as a teacher, you better have that stuff planned out, what you're doing at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, what you're teaching, what concepts, how you going to break this big concept down into smaller chunks. And so this life balance planner is really all about that. One thing that I do share with them is the life balance wheel, right? Like, how to see and assess where you are in your life right now and what's important for you, and taking that quarter by quarter, right, and planning it out to make sure that you're successful. So I'm excited about this planner. I just got my author copy to review.
I seen you review, and it's gonna be amazing. I'm waiting for my book to come to this point, so I know it's a amazing feeling to have your stuff out there, but it's more amazing to motivate more people with your words from this point. Because that's really the purpose, you know, motivating other people to actually get to their true greatness and their true destiny. So I thank you so very much for displaying that information. Again, you guys follow Dr. Dashia at, is it Purpose, Passion, Profit, correct?
So the name of my company is She's on Purpose, but you can find me at everything, DashiaAndrews.com.
Okay, awesome.
But that is our main goal. So my main goal as a life, a business, and a purpose coach is to help women discover what their purpose and passions are and take that to profits in their own business so they can build a legacy for their families, you know, and really leave something behind for them.
Yes, Dr. Triple P is here from this point. She's blessed us from this point.
Thank you. Right there, Dr. Triple.
Look, I am so excited for this Parent-Preneur conference because I know you're finna motivate so many people into greatness. My son is here. Look, Parent-Preneur never stop. Parent-Preneurs never stop.
Never.
But I thank you guys so very much from this point for being a part of today's talk session from this point. We will have another talk session next Saturday with Tea Time. This is Miss Tawana Ships, and we're going to be talking about some more financial literacy from this point. But I thank you so very much, Dr. Dashia, for being a part. Again, you guys follow us for more information on the Parent-Preneur conference and things we have going on. But I'm going to let you go, Queen, to your other opportunities and things that you will be doing. But you guys have a blessed day, and thank you again for being a part.
Thank you.
Bye, Dashia. Thank you.